What's up, everybody? What's up, YouTube? It's been a while. It's been a while. How's everybody doing? Give this a minute. Let it build up a little bit. It's kind of an unannounced live stream. I know I haven't done this in a while. I've been having a couple people hit me up and ask me about the podcast and ask me about these live streams and why I don't do them anymore. So inspired. Here I am. Specifically, I had a request to talk about strap pulling and the do's and the don'ts and the why you woulds and the what it does and the how to do it, all that type of stuff. So yeah, if you guys have nothing else to do but relax and chop it up with me, then let's do this, huh? So let this crowd, this massive crowd that's coming, build up for a minute. But today, strap work. So it's like a lot of amateurs heavily undervalue strap pulling and the significance of needing to learn how to arm wrestle in the straps. You can get away without being amazing in them for a while, especially at an amateur level. Not a lot of people run to the straps. Especially at the beginning level. When you get into the pro levels, it's definitely more common, but I think it's more common in the lower weight classes than in the super heavyweights. A lot of super heavyweights tend to trust their hands so much that they hold on for dear life. Not saying that there's not slips that happen, but I'm saying there's not as many intentional slips in the super heavyweights that I've noticed, because super heavyweights is a whole different mindset, right? It's always the biggest guys that think they're the strongest, that think they can just hold on to everybody and overpower everybody. So a lot of times, super heavyweights don't tend to go to the straps. Now, obviously, Devin does and Travis does, and there's definitely exceptions at the highest of the high level. But your standard run-of-the-mill tournament, most super heavyweights don't go to the straps. There's not a lot of strap pulling in the super heavyweights. The smaller, faster guys that fly around on the table, maybe, right? So keep that in mind. But if you want to talk about strap pulling and whether or not it's like should be sorry, it's changing something. Everybody should know what they're doing in the straps, right? So it should be a prerequisite to considering yourself even somewhat of a talented arm wrestler. You should know what you're doing in the straps fully. I can't see who's in here. It says I have one viewer. If you could give this a share, help me build this up. You only got one person in here. So the straps. Sorry, I keep getting off track about stuff that's going on the screen. But yeah, so at the highest level though, when you keep moving up, eventually if someone wants you in the straps, they'll get you in the straps 100% of the time, right? All they have to do is let go, not hold on to you, and then they'll go to the straps whenever they want. So to not be good at the straps and not know what you're doing in them and not know how to at least feel comfortable in the straps is kind of crazy if you want to consider yourself a long-time arm wrestler, right? I'm not saying that you have to be a person that goes to the straps intentionally all the time, but you need to know what you're doing if and when that situation comes for sure, and not be afraid of straps. You should never be like, oh no, this guy in the straps, like this is crazy. You should kind of know how to handle yourself in the straps, and if you don't, then you're signing yourself up for a rough ride, right? But like I said, that usually happens a little bit at the higher levels. The amateurs, they hold on a lot. There's a lot of holding on going on. So they want to ask about which way the straps affect certain arm wrestling moves. Basically, I've been thinking about this a lot lately too. It's kind of a funny topic. The straps and the way they affect certain moves. I've been wondering lately about which way the straps amplify your ability the most. So in what style, if you're a top roller, do the straps help you more if you're a top roller? Do they help you more if you're a hook puller, an inside hook puller, a high hooker, a low hand top roll? Like which way do these help the most? And I asked around, I asked for some other people's opinion, and I was kind of looking at my own and trying to dissect it. Basically, I asked Devin, and his kind of made the most sense. So this strap, right, when put on correctly, it you shouldn't need to be holding on very much with your hands, right? So therefore, it's tied to your arm right here at the base. It's tied right there and right in your hand, right? So the strongest muscle you have that you can apply on an arm wrestling table generally is your lat, right? It's your biggest muscle. It's your back. So if when you have a strap on your hand, see this bottom strap right here, I call this the horsepower strap. This strap is attached to everything below this joint, right? So the most powerful thing you can do is use your lat. The most powerful thing you can do in a strap is to drag this strap back with your lat. So this is something that Travis Bajent promotes a lot when he puts on his seminars, and Devin promotes a lot because it's definitely very apparent in a King's move where there's a lot of lat, a lot of dragging your elbow back. The most powerful thing you can do is when you're in trouble, focus on this strap right here, the horsepower strap. I call it the horsepower strap and the hand control strap. 2 straps, right? So, yeah, if you need to open your opponent up, pretty much anybody's lat, for the most part, is stronger than somebody else's brachialis or bicep, right? So if I triple down on my lat onto this bottom strap and pull down, I will open the other person's brachialis. I will open their arm up, right? So if we start, Travis, when he gives a seminar, he talks almost floating your elbow at the beginning, letting the other guy feel real set up, like he's good to go. And then right before you're about to start, just your elbow's floating a little bit, right before you're about to start, dropping your elbow really heavily and just cranking that guy's brachialis open before they say go, right? So floating this bottom strap up a little bit, or floating your arm up and the pressure on this bottom strap up. Because once the match starts, this is where all the power comes from, this bottom strap right here, right? This is the one that has all the driving force. That's why people always try to cheat and get it lower, right? So, to my original point, which move does this amplify the most? It would be the move that utilizes the lat the most, right? So if your style is dragging back hard with your lat, it'd be that move, right? That's what I think it amplifies the most. Now, besides that, I really think that low hand top rolling is a good move for the straps. I think it's kind of meant for strap pulling. In general, if you always want to put pressure on this bottom strap because this is the horsepower strap, then a low hand top rolling move, that's what it does naturally. That's why I think people like Matt Mask and them are really good in the straps. Is that, so say outside the straps, I've dumped my angle and I lose my hand. Then we go in the straps, and all I do is the same exact move, dump my angle, but now this strap, which is the horsepower strap, I have straight up, and I'm able to apply a ton more pressure on that strap. And also, when you do a low hand top roll, you can get your arms straight up. So now, not only do I have my arms straight up, especially for long arm pullers, I have my arms straight up, but all this power is on the horsepower strap because it's amplifying it, right? Because that's all I'm focusing on with my high angle and with my strap low, right? So when you start the match, I think it's already biting on the horsepower strap, which is what you need to focus on anyway in a strap match. So I think, yeah, that low hand top rolling is probably my favorite move in the strap, but I'm definitely gonna be messing around a lot more with a type of angle where I suck in my lat before once the match starts, like right when the match is about to start, dropping your lat heavy with the strap. I'll even have moves where I'll focus on hand control at the beginning of the match in the straps, right? Focus on hand control, and then Kane wants to know. He says most people like the strap lower, but he feels more comfortable with the strap higher. Is that weird? So I used to look into that a lot, and after digging for a long time about why would anybody ever want the strap higher, like what actual advantage does it give you? It tends to allow your a little more wrist mobility and to depend on hand control a little more. But when comparing the amount of horsepower you get out of a low strap, comparing that to a little more hand control, it's not convincing enough to do it. right? There's not enough hand control you gain out of it by having it high that would make any sense having it not having it low. You know what I'm saying? You guys get a chance, Kane, share this on Facebook and stuff for me, please. I didn't share it anywhere. I just kind of went live. So yeah, I mean, if you want to have the strap high, when he says high, he means about having it high, like right on your wrist. Low would be 1 inch down from your wrist line. Yeah, having it high. When I've looked into it and I've talked to some people that have had the strap high, they just basically all say they think it gives you better hand control. But the amount of power that comes out of biting onto a low strap is just like way stronger. So even Devin was like, dude, he's been looking for years for a reason to have the strap high, and he can't figure one out either. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah. So anyway, so my favorite move is low hand top rolling in a strap. I think that's what straps are meant. The way straps are meant to be used, in my opinion. But it's definitely a dragging style of arm wrestling is what amplifies the straps the most. Not to say that it doesn't amplify a hook or some kind of shoulder forward motion. You just have to know that when you're going forward, even with your shoulder, even for a hook, that you're still dragging somewhat with your lat and still bringing this strap down, right? As you're hooking or whatever. In all strap pulling, though, you always have constant tension on this bottom strap. And it's something you have to really focus on and maintain the entire match. Because the moment you don't, the other guy has access to a lot more power than you. You know what I'm saying? So that's my answer as far as what move I think helps most in the straps. Now, do you have to go to the straps? Are there ways around it? The saying is chase, don't make race, right? So basically, if you're in a match with a guy and he's always dictating what's going on, like he's controlling, he's going backwards, he's going sideways, and you're constantly trying to adjust to that guy, then that means that he's controlling the match. He's being offensive, and he's dictating what's going on, right? He's now in the driver's seat, and you're in the passenger seat, right? Now, if you're always chasing somebody and you're behind them, then there's no way you can be in first. You have to be in second place, right? You have to be losing if you're chasing this guy and he's dictating the match. So in general, you never want to be that guy. This is where the holding on thing comes into play, right? So a lot of times there is that mindset carried over is don't hold on to him. If you're holding on to him, then he's dictating the match. So you shouldn't be holding on. So this is, Travis and Devin and them, they don't hold on because they want the other person to hold on to them so they can dictate the match, so they can be the offensive one. Now, there are some instances where holding on seems to pan out, right? Like you guys, I know a lot of people are probably already thinking about when John Brzenk and Devin Lair pulled at WAL, and John clamped down and pinned Devin center table, exploding hand technique as they call it. That's real. In my match I had with John, he did something kind of similar as far as he established a great grip and a great hand position on my hand before he started his move. So he has a lot of hand control. Now, if you know you can hold on to somebody and you know they're going to slip, then sometimes you can catch them running and clamp onto that thumb or that finger and just force it straight down, and that would make sense, right? As far as not running to the straps, because when they run, they'll generally dump their wrists and they open up a lot of their angles, so they're a lot weaker. So clamping on can definitely have a big effect. But I think there's more benefits to being the person that's dictating the match and not holding on than being the person that is holding on in general, right? So there's a few instances where I say hold on to somebody, but if they're really explosive, man, and they know what they're doing on an arm wrestling table, and you're 100% convinced that you need to hold on for dear life, it's a rough sell. Now, this is coming from a guy who's known for holding on. Like, this is what I do. I hold on to people all the time. I need to stop. But I also train a lot in the straps as well to make sure I'm always comfortable in them. And so that way, when people want to go to the straps, like, let's do it, right? So if you want to catch someone slipping, I think holding on is good. But besides that, I think it's more effective to not hold on to someone and be offensive and make them hold on to you. I heard Devin Lair is a bisexual. Roger. What's up, Raj? So technically I think Devin called me out for a super match. He said he was going to bust my wrist back. And that's not happening. I mean, he could pin me in a lot of ways, but he's not busting that wrist back unless he's in some kind of crazy Kings move under the table. But I don't know. He ain't taking that wrist back, I'll tell you that much. Mr. Larrett. So, oh yeah, by the way, we'll get onto that stuff after I'm done talking about straps. So, so when you guys are focusing on strap pulling, we'll talk about putting the strap on and what you guys need to focus on within that, right? So, pretty general rules for strap pulling is you always want straps near you, straps come to you. So you want this strap down as far as the ref will allow you to pull it down. It's supposed to be 1 inch down from the wrist line, but just as far as you can get it. Same thing with this strap. The further you have your hand control strap down, the more your hand is able to maneuver, right? If you have this strap up here by your knuckles and it's pinning your hand down, then you can't wiggle your hand around. You can't maneuver your hand inside the strap nearly as much, right? So in general, you want straps towards you when applying the strap. The lower this horsepower strap goes, the closer it is to my base, and the more power I can apply into it, for sure. So if I'm trying to get a cool lat drag motion going on, then I'm trying to get this thing down here so I can just bring my arm back and separate whoever I'm pulling with, right? So generally, you always want straps towards you. One other thing to focus on when they're putting the strap on, if you have the buckle, right? When they're putting the strap on, they give you the buckle. One thing you need to focus on, even in the Ferris strap, right? There's 2 reasons that they stopped using the old strap. It was unfair. The old strap was not pinching on the bottom fairly, right? So the person who didn't have the buckle, their strap would bite first. So if we both pull backwards with our wrists like really hard, the first person that would actually get tension and be able to drive in, and utilize that would be the person who didn't have the buckle. It was weird the way it was set up. And then also, if you had the buckle, then what it did was, as they tightened the strap down, right, you would have to, sorry, bear with me for a second here. So as they tighten it down, you have to be sure to drive your webbing in between your thumb and your index finger. You have to be sure to drive your webbing up. What happens is when they pull this strap down, what it's going to do is it's going to suck your hand underneath the other person's hand. So as it tightens it up, it's going to pull your hand underneath. Now this is still true for the Ferris strap. Now it's not as prevalent, but it's still true. So if you have the buckle, right, all you have to do for the Ferris strap to really make sure it's fair is to drive your webbing up. If you have the buckle, as long as you remember that, then the Ferris strap is pretty much completely fair. But yeah, as they're applying the strap, make sure you're driving this part of your webbing up to at least be as high as theirs, or a little higher if you guys want to cheat and be little assholes. But yeah, so you have the buckle, you make sure the webbing is at least matched to their webbing or a little bit higher, right? And that'll give you a significant advantage, and you'll feel a lot better in the strap. There's no time in a strap where I feel worse than if my webbing is below the other person's, right? The webbing being below theirs, and also if this strap gets too high up by my knuckles, because then I can't move my hand at all. Those are things to focus on. So strap goes on, I'm pushing webbing up. I'm trying to get this strap down my hand, so I'm kind of going forward. It's almost like I'm uppercutting, right? Now the reason I'm cocking my wrist back like that is as they tighten it, if you have your wrist backwards like this, then it naturally slides down when they tighten it. If I have my wrist cocked like this and they tighten it, it'll just stay on my hand. It won't slide very well, right? Unless I'm really pushing past it, right? So, but yeah, an old cheap trick is as they're applying it, and when they're tightening the strap up, folding your wrist back like this, so it naturally slides down your hand when they tighten it, and then you get your grip and you tighten up right before they start. That's what Tim Breslin did to me, and it's an amazing trick, guys. As they apply the strap, you keep your palm bent backwards, right? And then let them put the entire strap on like that. Let them tighten it all the way up, because what's going to happen is, remember this, try this at your next practice and comment. Come back and comment on this video after you try this at your next practice. I want to know what you guys think, right? Know the awesome power of this, right? So I want to be clear on what you guys need to do here. When they tighten this, when they're tightening this strap up, when they put it through the buckle and they're tightening the strap, you keep your hand back like this. Now let them tighten it up and keep this part sliding down, right? So you have your hand back like this, it slides way down. Then even close your hand and get the grip with your hand bent backwards like this. Now let the guy get really comfortable, because your opponent, as you're doing this, his wrist is going to be kinked in. So as they're applying the strap, your opponent is going to be like, hell yeah, this feels great, right? Because his wrist is kinked in and your wrist is bent back, right? So they're going to be like, hell yeah, this feels fantastic. All right, get ready to start this. Now, eventually the ref is going to be like, okay, guys, straighten up, right? 'Cause he's obviously cheating. And when your wrist is bent back like this, I want you to grip tight and straighten your wrist out. Now, what that's going to do is, you had created height and everything in your hand by hiding your hand past his, that by when you close your hand and you grip up tight, it's going to demolish your opponent's hand. It's just really funny the way it works, because they feel great in the setup, but by the time you close your hands and you straighten that thing out and you make a solid fist, it's going to drop them underneath your hand, and they're going to feel horrible. It's going to feel absolutely horrible for them. Try that out. If you guys have any questions about that, let me know. What's up, Ricardo, man? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you. So, straps towards you guys. Top strap is hand control strap. The lower it is, the more hand control, the more you can maneuver your hand. Bottom strap is the horsepower strap. The lower it is, the more you can tap into your horsepower. Generally, if you have the bubble, always maintain your webbing height, right? Don't let your hand get sucked underneath the other guy's hand. You're going to be screwed. Those are the biggest things for strap pulling. Now, or for strap setup, I guess you'd say, right? Now, once the match starts, focusing on this bottom strap is going to be the biggest thing you guys can focus on, right? It's as far as affecting the table and affecting the outcome, is maintaining a certain amount of pressure on this bottom strap is going to be everything. So always sucking in your lat or dragging your brachialis really hard is going to be paramount. But besides that, you're just being more connected now. So hopefully you guys have already developed the mindset that if anybody touches that arm, they lose, right? You're not just depending on hand control to win everything, right? I mean, really though, strap pulling can favor the stronger guy, because you're now tied to the person's wrist. So a lot of times when I get a new guy who's all buff, like a bodybuilder type, right? And I'm trying to get them ready to say they hook, then it takes a while. When people are brand new, it takes a while to establish their hand and wrist and get their hand and wrist as strong as they'd like it to be. So when I have a new bodybuilder type of guy, somebody with a big hand, or I mean like a small hand or a medium hand, and they're really strong, but their wrist just isn't there yet, but they have big biceps and a big old chest and all this stuff, then I'll have them do a lot of strap pulling. I'll have them do a lot of strap pulling. That way they have access to those bigger muscle groups. Sorry, guys. My stream was getting glitchy. Okay, it's back now. Yeah, so strap is really good for people that have weak wrists and are just kind of beginning, as far as, like, not really good for them, but it helps them get past their weaker hands and wrist and tap into their bigger muscle groups, right? You still need a strong wrist when you're in a strap, because you still have to use cupping and pronation and stuff like that, and they feel it a lot more. But you can get past a lot of it when the straps are engaged, because you can just use your chest and bicep to really tap into a lot more power. I guess hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Okay, I think that's all I want to say about the straps. But yeah, definitely train in them. I always recommend my guys, when we get to practice, it should be about 15 to 20 minutes of warm-up, solid warm-up where you have a nice sweat going, and then strap pulling for about at least 45 minutes of just straight strap pulling for everybody. I feel straps tie into your bigger muscle groups better. They work them out more. So getting that heavy, big muscles working earlier in the day and ensuring that they get a good workout and you're not really missing any gaps is important. And then after that, it's more hand control, free play type of stuff. But definitely don't leave practice without getting your straps in. Now, on that topic, real quick, I want to touch on when you go to practice, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, this should be true for every team. Everybody's different in arm wrestling, right? Everybody kind of has their own things they need to work on, their own styles, and most teams don't have a paid coach or someone training them. When you go to practice, guys, you need to have your own list mentally or physically what you're trying to work on for that day's practice, and kind of a checklist. A lot of people go to practice and they just have these wars with everybody, right? Because they love arm wrestling and they want to test themselves against everybody. Totally understandable. But then they have these wars and that's it, and they leave. But really, they never top rolled the entire practice. They never worked their brachialis. They never worked, their shoulder. They never hit their chest all practice. There's a lot of gaps and holes. So when you have a list, something mentally that you want to work on in practice, and you're checking that off the list as the day goes on, that's a way to ensure that you're progressing all the time. Now, a lot of people are joining the sport right now, so there's a lot of new blood coming in and out of the sport. So guys, you guys are trying to catch up to people that have been arm wrestling 10, 20, 30 years, right? So your training needs to be optimized, right? It has to be efficient, because if you train like bullshit, you're never going to catch up to those guys, right? So I'm telling you, almost nobody goes to practice with a certain agenda and something they plan on doing, and works it out the way they plan to, right? It's really rare, especially out here in the States. I mean, I can't speak for Europe and stuff like that, but out here everybody just goes to practice. Not everybody, most people go to practice, have a beer, hang out, arm wrestle with their buddies, see if they can pin that guy they couldn't pin last week, and then call it a day, go home, and hopefully they hit a lot of their muscle groups. But that's not really an efficient way to train, right? Because then you left a lot of gaps. So I hate going home from practice and feeling my left brachialis fresh. I'm like, oh man, it's not even sore. Like, I didn't even hit it. What a waste. I wasted the whole table time, right? As far as for that muscle group, right? So I recommend you guys, some people physically having a list and making sure you go over it, right? Strap pulling in the hook. Okay, did that for 20 minutes, and then just go down everything you want to work on and to keep moving forward, right? So have a list. Check it twice. So over strap pulling, that's about it, guys. I mean, unless you guys have any questions. Anybody got any questions in here we can talk about? Let's see. Hey, someone said Devin Leonard's bisexual. Oh, someone said, bro, after I do arm wrestling, my elbow hurts a lot for 2 weeks. I don't know how new you are to arm wrestling, but assuming that you're fairly new, if that's true, then it's just time, man. It's you getting pulled through and your elbow and joints opening up, and your body's not used to this kind of arm wrestling motion. Your entire life, you've never trained this sideways ability at any significant level. Your joints are not used to being pried in that way, and it's not a really natural way for your body to move. So we're doing a very unnatural thing with a lot of pressure on these joints, and it doesn't feel good. So your tendons, ligaments, and just joints in general, your nerves, they all hate arm wrestling. And so it takes a while for them to shut up and realize that they're going to be arm wrestling elbow from now on. So yeah, it's totally normal, dude. Just give it some time, rest. A lot of it is going to be, once you get over the muscle fatigue and then your tendons and everything physically being torn up, then most of the people have the biggest problem dealing with the nerve inflammation in your ulnar nerve. So that's a nerve that goes from your bottom 2 fingers and it goes down your hand through your inner elbow, I believe, up the back and up your shoulder into the back of your neck. That's the one that causes the most problems. That's that toothache pain where your arm's aching, you can't make a fist, and everything is just shaking, you feel really weak. That's your ulnar nerve being inflamed, guys. So I would say focus on, if it's really bad, you can do anti-inflammatories, make sure you're hydrated, ice, things like that to calm that nerve down. Don't do a lot of grip work or things that utilize your bottom 2 fingers really heavy for a couple days after practice. Sleep with your arms straight. What I used to do when it was really bad, I would take a towel or a random t-shirt and I'd wrap them loosely around my elbows while I slept to keep me from bringing my hand up to my head when I was sleeping. Just to remind you to keep your arms straight. When your arm's straight, then those nerves aren't pinched and they can flow and they can calm down easier if your arms are straight, guys. That, and then look up ulnar nerve glides as well. Those are really big. I know Coach Ray has a bunch of those on his channel. If you guys get a chance, look those up. Fantastic exercises to help calm those nerves down, the ones in your elbows that hurt. Those are important, guys, especially if you're new. Yeah. Oh, Brendan. Okay. Zervian said, what's a good way to get rid of brachioradialis inflammation? I keep getting stronger. When I go heavy, the inflammation starts throbbing. So brachioradialis inflammation. It's up here. It's inflaming. That's probably more of a tendon connective tissue type of deal you got going on up there, I would say give it some time, man. If I ever have anything that's too chronic and I can't figure out how really to work through it, then I work around it, right? What's Devin's 2 rules? Never stop working and don't get injured. And if you get injured, revert to rule number 1: never stop working, right? So we work around it. So if that, I had that very similar thing go down with my left hand, my left arm, where my brachial radialis right here and my brachialis were really sore, and I had like a pain, especially where it connected up here in my shoulder. So I started hooking. I mean, I would kind of massage it and try to give it some light work and stuff like that to not ignite it too much, but I'd let the nerve really calm down or whatever was aching in there. And I started really focusing on just doing inside pressures with my palm up, focusing on my bicep a lot more, and kind of switching my styles up, man. Because we tend to, as arm wrestlers, overwork all the time. We will kill out a muscle or an angle until it starts aching, and we won't have the proper balance built up, and our body can't handle just the constant beating of whatever muscle we like to focus on, right? So switch it up, man. I mean, it's all about being a well-rounded arm wrestler as well anyway, you know? So if you need to work on your hook, no better time than when your brachialis is all jacked up. But if it persists, man, like I said, whenever it comes to medical advice, I am not a doctor. I can just tell you what I've been through. I would say go get a doctor, get it checked out if it's really that bad. Yeah, mine is brachioradialis and lower bicep tendon connecting to the elbow area. Oddly enough, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me when I do supinated bicep curls. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you do supinated bicep curls, it should feel fine because you're going away from the brachialis and that attachment point. It's not bad enough to see a doctor. Okay, well then, yeah, I mean, I would just say take your time on it, let it heal up a little bit, and focus on some inside pressure for a while. Give it a little space. Yeah. So when you're going to max effort and you're going near failure, yeah, that's the same thing on my left hand. I wouldn't feel it when I was at practice, and I'd be arm wrestling like weaker guys. But when I would go to the gym or I would arm wrestle really high level guys, I would see it really aching. Oh man, I don't want to mispronounce your name. Thank you for the kind words. Vile says, nice to see you back live. Why you haven't been doing those weekly podcasts? So my computer is out of commission, guys. I said it a couple times, but so I have a computer that I was doing the podcast off of, and it's not currently operational. So the Reddit and stuff, things that I work on, I do it on my phone. Like right now I'm on my phone. So I'm not able to, I don't have a computer to read off of the Reddit and work off of right now. And money is tight. COVID has got your boy broke. So I don't really have money for a new computer right now. So believe me, I miss the podcast. I do. It was never a thing of it becoming too difficult or anything like that. I love doing the podcast. I love answering everybody's questions and helping out the scene. I don't plan on going away from that at all. As soon as I'm able to start doing the podcast again, I will. Even these little live videos, I can do these more often. It's just, yeah, all I have is my phone. So I will be here for you guys, answer all your questions. I keep telling him to do his podcast with the Reddit questions live. Like I just said, I can't be on my phone looking at the Reddit, all the Reddit questions on my phone and recording at the same time. Yeah. All right, guys. So it's a Cool Burn is on my team. That's Carlo. That's my trainer, man. That's the guy that helps me get strong for sure. You guys, here's on that topic, right? One thing that's really important to do when you go to practice is to communicate with people. Now, Carlo, the guy commenting, when I go to practice and I'm ready to work on stuff, I communicate with Carlo and I explain to him. We have a conversation. I make sure this is somebody that can comprehend what I'm trying to say. I wouldn't have a new guy do it, someone that doesn't know what they're doing or someone that's just a big dum-dum. I have to explain to people. I say, okay, I want to work on my inside supinating pressure on my elbow. And so make sure they understand what's going on. I'll have them use 2 hands, or even if they don't need to use 2 hands. Communication is key. You guys, it's really hard to get a great workout in and to get what you need out of a practice if you're not talking. People all the time complain about, well, I go to practice, they just want to pin me and no one gives me a chance. And they do. Yeah, but how much have you spoken up? You can't expect random people to understand what you're trying to work on, what you're going through. If you don't speak up, then you're just going to get what you get. That's it. So at practice, you guys, speak up. You have to talk and communicate with the person you're arm wrestling with, right? If they're stronger than you, say, hey, let me work on this angle or let me do this, right? If you are If you're the stronger guy, then maybe help the weaker guy work on moves and let them pin you. It's not a big deal, right? It's just practice, guys. So, but communication, the moral of this is communication is big, and I have good communication with Coolburn here, and so we're able to work really efficiently when I'm up for it and I'm not dead at practice. Then we work really efficiently and get a lot done. So talk to your teammates. If you don't speak up, they can't know what you need. Oh, I always go off on these tangents. All right. Yeah. If you guys don't have any more questions, then I'm going to go. I plan on doing these. Someone shot me a list of topics they want me to cover. Minhale did. My boy from Reddit and from the Discord. Oh, that reminds me. Before I go, guys, if you're watching this, hopefully you're already involved somewhat in Reddit or Discord or the things I got going on. But if you are not, what we did is we started a I don't want to call it. It's not a leaderboard. Basically, on Reddit, what we did was we have 6 rotating topics, and so the very first one was cupping, right? So for every 2 weeks, there'll be a new topic coming, right? So we did cupping. Everybody goes in there. They post their best cupping lift. If you have a video of your best cupping lift, cool. If you don't, just post your max. So post Sniper Bob 555. He cupped 200 pounds. It doesn't matter because it's not a leaderboard. So all it is to help you hold yourself accountable. We're just kind of helping you do it publicly, right? So we had cupping the first 2 weeks. That went away. We just started biceps yesterday. We started biceps yesterday, and that'll be there for 2 weeks. And then we'll switch to probably pronation, and then the topics will keep alternating. Then every 3 months, those topics will come back around, and then we'll retest your maxes, right? Because if you're being efficient in the gym, you should be writing down all your numbers, writing down all your maxes and where you're at in your lifts, right? So we're helping you. We're helping you post it publicly, and we'll help critique your form if you want and stuff like that, and help you out. We'll just talk about general, whatever topic it is for those 2 weeks, biceps, cupping, whatever. And then we'll record your lift for you, right? Because we're not going to sit there and police all the lifts and try to make sure everybody's doing the exact same lifts and have a leaderboard. You know what that does? It's going to shy away a lot of the weaker people, and it's going to you could get on Joe Rogan. Hey, I'm down, but Devin will probably be better than me. I think I would love to go on Joe Rogan, but Devin's a better spokesperson for the sport than me for sure, and he has a way bigger fan base, obviously. So, and he's the man, I tried writing Joe Rogan podcast twice. I emailed them to try to get Devin on the podcast. If you guys get a chance, always go bug Joe Rogan podcast. Go in all the comments and just keep commenting, hey, you guys need to have Devin Lair on this channel. If we get Devin on Joe Rogan, boom, that would help the sport so much. And he speaks really well, so I think it'd be a good podcast. Yeah. So, what was I talking about? I lost my train of thought when you start talking about the Joe Rogan podcast. But so the cupping thing. Anyway, yeah, you guys go in there, submit your scores, and even if you don't submit a video, just put whatever your max is, right? So if it's biceps this week, just say single hand bicep curl 120 pounds, whatever. If you're lying, that's the thing, is that the lying only affects you. Doesn't make you look cooler because it's whatever, man. You could be cheating a million different ways. It could be weird camera angles. You could not post a video at all. So cheating wouldn't really make sense because you're only cheating yourself, because it's not a leaderboard. It's just a way to publicly state what your maxes are right now. So that way you can hold yourself accountable, because in 3 months we're coming back to that topic, and then we'll see how your gains went, right? So I don't know. I just think it's really awesome idea, and I really appreciate all the help I'm getting from Ryan and from Philip, 2 moderators helping me run it. And you guys go post your maxes. It'd be cool, especially if I have any more some big names on here. Go post. I got to track down some of these guys and make them go post on Reddit. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I don't think I have any more questions from anyone. Where is it? Yeah. Oh, they're talking about me and Joe Rogan. That would be awesome. That would be cool. I mean, I would do a fantastic job. Don't worry, I could chop it up with Joe Rogan all day. Although he'd probably try to make me smoke a bunch of weed. I'm not very good at being social if I smoke weed. So make me do mind expanding drugs with him. Devin might be down for that. All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm out. I'm gonna start doing this more often. yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments or something, post it down below, and I'll answer them like I always do. Yeah. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.